While stopping Lonimation, Oliver crosses paths with another vigilante trying to help him protect the city. He arrives late at the police department gala while Thea tries to cover for him. Back at the Arrow Cave, Felicity tries to convince Oliver that they need a new team. She sends Curtis to find Wild Dog, the vigilante from earlier, and hopes to recruit him, but makes him promise not to tell Oliver. A new threat emerges in the form of Tobias Church from Bloodhaven. Oliver pays a visit to Quentin after his breakup with Donna. He asks Quentin to rejoin the team and reminds him that the city is going to honor Laurel. Quentin attends the ceremony where Oliver reveals a statue of Laurel as a Black Canary. Tobias and his men crash the ceremony, killing innocent people and kidnap Oliver. The team tries to locate Oliver and save him. Tobias plans to draw out the Green Arrow by holding Oliver and other city officials hostage. He has one of his guards torture Oliver, but Oliver kills him. Thea arrives and the two make their escape. Back at base, Thea tells Oliver that she no longer wants to be part of the team if he continues to kill people. Oliver tries to contact Diggle, who re-enlisted, to ask for help. Quentin offers him a hand in the form of his former colleagues. During the conversation, Oliver has a flashback of the last conversation between him and Laurel, which reveals that she asked him to have someone take up the mantle as Black Canary. Quentin has his men help Oliver save the hostages. Oliver engages Tobias while Quentin's team goes to save them. They manage to clear out before the building blows up, and Oliver fights Tobias in a helicopter mid-flight. Tobias gets away as Oliver safely lands on the ground. During a press conference, Oliver formally introduces the anti-crime unit who will work directly with him. Oliver tells Felicity that he agrees with the idea of a new team. Curtis asks to be recruited after being attacked by two thugs. Oliver gets into contact with Diggle and asks him his opinion about it. Diggle gives him his blessing, surprising Oliver. At the police department, a new archer attacks one of the men in Oliver's anti-crime unit. In flashbacks, Oliver gets involved with Bratva while participating in a Russian flight club. After being tortured, he is saved by Anatoly. He warns Oliver not to mess with Kovar as it would not end well for him. He tells him to move on. Oliver decides to take the necessary steps to become a Bratva to take down Kovar. How will the new Team Arrow compare to the new Team Arrow? When will we be seeing Laurel Lance? We missed the Black Canary. Who is the new mysterious hooded archer? Is that Prometheus? Let's find out on the next episode of Arrow. Oliver finds Wild Dog and gives him a chance to join Team Arrow. Curtis continues to train, but Oliver believes he has the farthest way to go before he can consider him for the team. Diggle prepares to lead a mission to retrieve nuclear tech that had been used in Genesis Day. He and his men are then ambushed, and Diggle and a young soldier are the only ones left. They find out that some of their fellow soldiers are corrupt and plan to steal the tech for themselves. Diggle is forced to watch the young soldier gunned down by his superior, and is then left for dead. Back in Star City, Oliver tells Thea that he is putting together a new team and has her handle everything at the office. Oliver then begins training Renee, Curtis, and Evelyn. A mysterious hooded figure attacks an employee of Amertech who Oliver had met with earlier. Following the incident, he promises to provide protection to Amertech at an event that they're holding. Felicity shows footage to Oliver of a hooded man using tentacles to strangle the Amertech employee. They suspect him to be a meta or supernatural being. Oliver has a team pose as associates of Amertech to watch over the event. The hooded figure appears and begins attacking everyone before escaping. Back at the Arrow Cave, Oliver scolds Renee for disobeying his orders and berates the rest of them. Felicity tries to calm Oliver down and says that he should be easy on them. She talks to her boyfriend and asks for help in identifying the cloth Renee retrieved from the hooded figure. At the mayor's office, Oliver tells Thea to take Quentin out of security duty because of his drinking problem. He then meets with Curtis and Felicity at the rundown hive base to talk. Curtis calls him out on not trusting anyone, which is why they will all eventually leave him. Felicity reminds Oliver of how he used to be and how the new recruits deserve to see that side of him. Thea sees the owner of Amertech meet with Tobias. She tells Oliver, who decides to handle it on his own. He makes his way to Amertech and confronts the hooded figure as well as Tobias. The hooded figure tells the woman from Amertech that he is the sole survivor of Haven Rock and has come to end the selling of nuclear weapons. He ends up saving Oliver from getting killed by Tobias. Oliver and Ragman form an alliance after learning each other's identities. In flashbacks, Oliver finds himself fighting for his life while trying to gain entry to the Bratva. He and a few other men work together and complete the exercise to be initiated. They're successful, but everyone is killed except for Oliver. He confronts Anatoly for having the men killed. Quentin apologizes to Thea for his recent behavior and she offers him a job as deputy sheriff. Oliver finally reveals himself to his new team to gain their trust. They agree to join him in battle to protect the city. The other hooded figure attacks Tobias outside a club and tells him not to hurt the Green Arrow before revealing himself as Prometheus. Why is Stardust playing himself? Why is he becoming a metahuman? Will Team Arrow 3.0 be able to finish their next mission without any casualties? When will Black Canary come back? When will Speedy come back? When will Spartan come back? At least they've got Ragman. What a badass. What will Prometheus do? Find out on the next episode of Arrow. Oliver has the recruits continue training while he sees that they are ready to join him in the field. He meets with Felicity's boyfriend Billy, who gives him information about Prometheus. Thea's decision to hire Lance as deputy mayor backfires when the media exploit his drinking problem. Diggle is shown to be in jail, being framed for the murder of Private Collins, so Lila tries to prove his innocence. Renee and Evelyn disobey Oliver's orders and try to bring down the supplier of a drug called Stardust. Renee is overpowered by the leader named Derek Sampson, but is saved by Evelyn. He takes the opportunity to throw Sampson into a vat of the drug. District Attorney Adrian Chase tells Oliver about a vigilante who killed Sampson, so Oliver confronts Renee and scolds him for breaking his trust. Diggle shares a jail cell with Floyd Lawton, who tells him how he survived the blast. Sampson is shown to be alive and has manifested powers such as enhanced strength and immunity to pain. Felicity and Curtis feel guilty for not telling Rory that they're responsible for the destruction of Haven Rock. Oliver confronts Sampson but is easily outmatched, so he escapes. Despite the recruits wanting to help him, Oliver refuses and goes to handle the problem alone. Thea tries to get the news anchor named Susan Williams to change the story, but it just worsens the situation. Thea apologizes to Oliver and tells him that she is resigning. Diggle then tells Lila that he deserves to be in jail for killing Andy, and it is revealed that he is having visions of Floyd. Oliver tells the team that he needs their help to stop Sampson from creating an army of enhanced criminals. While he takes on Samson, the rest of the team tries to shut down the operation. After successfully shutting it down, he takes them to the Arrow Cave. Oliver forgives Thea and helps her fix everything going on with his administration, even keeping Lance on board. Felicity confesses to Rory that she was responsible for what happened at Haven Rock, upsetting him. Lila then shows up and asks Oliver to break Diggle out of prison. In flashback, Oliver is finally initiated into the Bratva, as promised by Anatoly, so he can take down Kovar. Will Team Arrow 3.0 with Artemis, Mr. Terrific, Ragman, and Wild Dog be enough to stop all the crime in Star City? Will they be able to go against Prometheus? When will we learn his identity? It looks like someone on the team is going to be in trouble next episode. I wonder who it'll be. Will Ragman, aka Rory Reagan, forgive Felicity after that bomb she just dropped on him? Will Oliver make the decision to break Diggle out of jail, or will his team stop him? Find out on the next episode of Arrow. Oliver continues to test the team by bringing them on another mission. Renee disobeys Oliver's orders, so he tells them all to take a few days off. Rory tells Oliver that he is quitting the team after learning from Felicity her involvement with the destruction of Haven Rock. Lila shows up and Oliver fills Felicity in on the plan to break Diggle out of prison. Felicity disapproves, so Oliver decides to keep the rest of the plan of stealing a piece of tech from Palmer Tech that will help him break Diggle out. Before leaving, Oliver tasks Quentin, Thea, and Adrian to watch over the city while he is gone. Tobias launches an attack at the precinct and nearly kills Quentin and Adrian after stealing military-grade weapons. Curtis, Evelyn, and Renee confront Oliver after being sent by Felicity. He easily defeats all of them and heads out to free Diggle. Quentin and Thea go to the Arrow Cave and meet with the rest of the team. They tell them that the evidence Team Arrow collected earlier was a trap. They work on trying to find out where Tobias will strike next. Lila is able to sneak Oliver into the prison, and he looks for Diggle. Back in Star City, Felicity talks to Rory, telling him that she knows that he is carrying on the Ragman legacy and apologizes again for what happened to Haven Rock. She tries to convince him to rejoin the team, but he says he is not ready. Lila tells Oliver to abort the mission when they find that Diggle is not in his cell. The team decides to stop Tobias after figuring out his next intended target, and Rory joins them. Back at the prison, Oliver stays and finds Diggle, convincing him to come home and be with his family. They make their way through the sewers after using the tech he stole from Palmer Tech to disintegrate the floor. He and Diggle are surrounded by guards, but Lila saves them with a military aircraft. The team make their way to the compound Tobias is at, where they save Adrian and other innocent people. Curtis is seriously injured, so Renee stays behind to hold off Tobias, where Rory and Evelyn get him to safety. Tobias overwhelms Renee and takes him captive. Thea, Quentin, and Adrian talk about the close call at the compound, and Adrian tells them that his experience changed his perspective on vigilantes. Oliver brings Diggle back to the Hive headquarters to have him lay low with Lila. He meets with the rest of the team and promises that they will find Renee. Renee then wakes up, only to be tortured by Tobias, who tells him that he will break him. In flashbacks, Anatoly has Oliver get arrested to infiltrate a prison and find a man to give him information on Kovar. After getting what he needs, Oliver kills a man. Despite questioning Anatoly, the latter tells Oliver that he is now part of the Bratva. Will the team be able to find Renee before Tobias chops him up into little pieces? Are we going to see Prometheus dressed up as Green Arrow's version of Red Hood? What will happen to Diggle now that he is a fugitive? Find out on the next episode of Arrow. Bow, 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 bow. Tobias continues to torture Renee while Oliver and the team interrogate his associates to find out where he is. Back at the Arrow Cave, Diggle tells them that he and Lila used her connections to try and help them. Rory and Evelyn find a lead to Renee's whereabouts and have Felicity look into it. While Tobias has Renee dig his own grave, Oliver appears and takes out all of his men. Tobias then escapes, and Renee tells Oliver that during his torture he accidentally gave up Green Arrow's real identity. Diggle tells Oliver he has a friend who can help, and Oliver asks Diggle to debrief Renee. Diggle's unable to get through to the stubborn Renee, who only promises to lay low. Prometheus confronts Tobias for going against his wishes to leave the Green Arrow alone, threatening to end him if he crosses him again. Tobias then introduces his new mercenary, who he tasks in killing Oliver. Diggle tries to talk to Renee again and tells him about Andy. Renee finally opens up to Diggle and tells him that he'll try to remember what happened. In the mayor's office, Oliver and Thea try to convince Councilman Cullen to help them provide homes for low-income families, but it proves to be harder than they thought. Oliver then tries to gain Susan Williams' trust, as she could prove useful to their administration. Oliver and Thea find information to use against Councilman Cullen and then threaten to bring the information to Susan. As they're leaving the office, Oliver is shot multiple times by Tobias' hired mercenary. Lance and Thea tell the city that Oliver had died, but it is revealed that Diggle's friend Christopher Chance, aka the human target, was impersonating him. Oliver tells the team that it is only until they stop Tobias in his plan to have the largest drug enterprise. Chance tells Oliver what it takes to impersonate other people and reveals to him information concerning Felicity. Oliver talks to her and tells her that he knows about her seeing someone new. Back at the Arrow Cave, Renee tells Oliver that he knows about Tobias' plan and the team moves out to stop him. Renee takes on Tobias while the rest of the team fight the rest of the thugs. Chance saves Curtis and Evelyn from Tobias' mercenary, then groups up with Diggle. Oliver fights and ultimately defeats Tobias, who tells him that Prometheus is coming for him. Oliver reveals to the city as being alive and thanks Chance for his help. Felicity walks in and thanks Oliver for accepting the fact that she had moved on. Elsewhere, Susan gets a photo from one of her sources of Oliver in the Bratva. Prometheus stops the police escort, bringing Tobias to prison, and when Tobias begs to be spared, he offers to hand Green Arrow over to Prometheus. Prometheus remains silent and kills Tobias before walking away. In flashbacks, one of the brothers in the Bratva, Victor, doubts Oliver's loyalty to them. He sends his hired thugs to attack Oliver, but he is saved by one of the other brothers who had talked to him earlier. He is revealed to be Christopher Chance. Could Prometheus be Tommy Merlin, Christopher Chance, Adrian Chase, or Billy? Will Thea decide to join the team again after Diggle's come back? Find out on the next episode of Arrow. Boom. Diggle and Oliver search for Prometheus and find a warning message from him. They deduce that Tobias was killed because Prometheus wanted to kill Green Arrow himself. Oliver tells Felicity not to let the rest of the team know about what is going on until they find out more information. Prometheus continues his killing spree across the city, and Oliver meets with Adrian, who is at one of the crime scenes. Back at the Arrow Cave, Diggle asks Felicity to obtain a throwing star from Billy so that they can find leads. She is able to get one, but Prometheus attacks again, forcing Oliver to bring in the whole team. Mr. Terrific, Artemis, and Wild Dog are tasked to save the citizens, while Green Arrow, Ragman, and Spartan take on the thugs. They realize that it's just a ruse for the team. The recruits realize that Oliver and Diggle have been keeping things from them, but put it aside. Curtis finds out that each letter in Prometheus' name stands for the names on the list Oliver's father had given him. The recruits meet, with all of them but Renee questioning Oliver's leadership. At the Arrow Cave, Diggle tries to convince Oliver that he's not the same man he was back then. Felicity brings the team in and has them split up to protect potential targets. Artemis is on the train and finds Prometheus. Felicity sends Oliver to check on her. She manages to hold her own until Oliver gets there. They save the target and escape the train before it explodes. Oliver tells Artemis that he is going to place all of the potential targets under the witness protection program. Felicity visits Billy and tells him about her affiliation with the Green Arrow. He doesn't take the news lightly, but accepts it at the same time. At Mayor Queen's office, Lance and Thea make sure that Oliver does not get too involved with Susan Williams. They then plan to have a music and arts festival to unite the people of Star City. The Prometheus murders begin to have an impact on Oliver's administration when Susan begins reporting on it. At the event, Thea realizes that Lance is still drinking, so she confronts him at his apartment and promises to help him. The team joins Oliver at the event, and Felicity pulls him aside. She tells him that Prometheus is using arrows he had left over the last 4 years and fashioned them into his own weapons. Quentin awakens, finding himself scarred in the same place Artemis had cut Prometheus and a throwing star on his coffee table. In flashbacks, Constantine is teaching Oliver how to make bombs when they are attacked by Kovar. They are then approached by a man named Gregor, who asks Oliver to infiltrate Kovar's hideout and blow it up by using his status as a playboy. Everything nearly goes according to plan when one of the men Oliver is working with turns on him. He wakes up to find himself face to face with Kovar. Is Lance being set up? Will the team find out who Prometheus is soon? Could it be Malcolm, Tommy, Adrian, or Billy? Most likely not Adrian because he's going to show up as Vigilante next week. What will spark this 4-way crossover between Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and Legends? Could Prometheus be Oliver's father? Find out on the next episode of Arrow. The new hero, Vigilante, rescues a girl who is about to be sold into a human trafficking ring. He takes 2 of the thugs and leaves their bodies at the SCPD. Felicity brings the team up to speed about him, and they're torn on what to do about the matter. While the team is training, they receive an alert of criminals robbing the Star City National Bank. When they get there, they find all the criminals dead. Despite the rest of the team thinking that Vigilante is doing the right thing, Oliver believes that he needs to be stopped. While Curtis and Renee try to obtain information from a gun shop owner, Diggle takes a more hostile approach. He reveals that he is angry because he missed John Diggle Jr.'s birthday. Rory and Evelyn interrogate a thug to find out where a new gang led by a man named Eric Dunn will strike next. The team find Vigilante there, but not before he has laid all the robbers to waste. He warns the team to get out of his way and that he is on their side. Oliver tells him that he's out of control and that he needs to stop. Vigilante fires at them and escapes. In Mayor Queen's office, Oliver tells Susan to stop looking into Prometheus and the new Vigilante. Later, Lance talks to Thea and gives her his letter of resignation without elaborating on why. She goes to his apartment and tells him that she won't give up on him. He tells her that the reason he resigned is because he's been suffering from blackouts. He then shows her the throwing stars. Lance tells her that he's being targeted by Prometheus and doesn't want her, Oliver, to get hurt. Oliver works with Adrian to find out where Eric Dunn is. The Green Arrow saves him from being killed by Vigilante. Back at the Arrow Cave, he tasks the rest of the team to find out where Vigilante is. He then leaves to talk to Susan. They meet at a bar and he talks to her about the stresses of being a mayor. Thea drops Quentin off at a rehab clinic and he thanks her. The team decide to draw Vigilante out by staging a bank robbery. He figures out their plan and then attacks Curtis and Evelyn. He holds Curtis at gunpoint and confronts Oliver, telling him to stay out of his way. Oliver saves Curtis and fights Vigilante. He incapacitates him, but just as he is about to pull off his mask, Vigilante sets off a small explosion and escapes again. Oliver delivers Dunn to the SCPD. Thea tells Oliver about Quentin's predicament and they come to the conclusion that Prometheus knows that he is the Green Arrow. Renee brings John Diggle Jr. and Lila to Diggle so that he can celebrate his son's birthday. On a random city rooftop, Prometheus meets with Artemis, who is revealed to be working with him. In flashbacks, Kovar tries to figure out why Oliver is trying to get to him after torturing him for a week. A woman walks in and Kovar reveals her to be Tiana's mother. Oliver attacks him and forces him to lead him out at knife point. He's unsuccessful and is captured again. Oliver challenges Kovar and is nearly beaten to death when Gregor walks in. The Bratva is revealed to be working with him. Could Prometheus be Arrow's version of Sportsmaster? Could Billy be Prometheus? And could he be Evelyn's brother? Or maybe father? Will Lance be able to fight his alcohol addiction? Will Prometheus be successful in tearing Team Arrow apart? And will Artemis turn to the good side? Why can't they ever give Diggle a break? What's Rory gonna do when he finds out his partner is kind of a two-timer? Why is Renee the only sane one here? And what will they do now that Vigilante is out in the open, doing his thing? Find out on the next episode of Arrow. The episode starts with Oliver living an alternate life where he is engaged to Laurel. He's then revealed to be in a stasis pod along with Ray, Sarah, Diggle, and Thea on a Dominator spaceship. Felicity brings Cisco back to the Arrow Cave where he vibes Oliver's bow. He sees the Dominator ship and he shows the team a piece of alien tech which they can use to trace everyone that was abducted. Back in Oliver's dream life, his parents and Thea help him prepare for his wedding to Laurel, who arrives at the Queen Mansion with Sarah. Sarah and Oliver both feel as if something is not right. While Oliver and his father are walking throughout Star City, they are nearly mugged. Oliver stands up to the mugger, but the Hood saves them. Back at the Queen Mansion, Oliver begins to regain his memories. He visits Lance and continues to regain more memories after seeing pictures of the Hood. He then finds himself at the Arrow Cave where he fights Diggle, who is revealed to be the Hood. After being knocked unconscious, he wakes up and is interrogated by Diggle and Felicity. Felicity. Diggle begins to regain his memories as well, and Oliver tells him that the life they're living isn't real. Diggle angrily throws him out of the arrow cave. At Oliver and Laurel's engagement party, Sarah and Ray run into each other and briefly recognize one another, but they cannot recall where from. After talking to her mother, Thea regains her memories as well. Oliver talks to Laurel and proposes that they get hitched because he feels as if something is off. Diggle appears and tells Oliver that he began to have visions as well. He shows Oliver a picture he drew of the Dominators when they are attacked by Deathstroke. Sarah appears and helps them defeat him. The three realize that they're in a shared hallucination and work on a way to get out. They all attend the wedding reception where Oliver shares an emotional goodbye with his parents. Sarah gets Ray and he tells her that he is beginning to remember. Thea doesn't want to leave, and after Oliver fails to change her mind, he accepts her decision to stay. The rest of the team get ready to escape when they're confronted by Malcolm, Deathstroke, and Dark. Thea fights Malcolm, Sarah fights Dark, Oliver fights Deathstroke, while Ray and Diggle take on the rest of the henchmen. After defeating them, Oliver and Sarah share a tearful goodbye with Laurel. They arrive at Smoke Tech and find the portal leading them back to reality. Back at the Arrow Cave, the team tried to use the Dominator Tech but realized that they need a regulator because it outputs too much power. They set out to look for Dr. Laurel Washington, who had stolen the government regulator to use with her cybernetic enhancements. Barry and Kara meet up with Ragman, Wild Dog, and Curtis to look for Laura. Wild Dog runs into her and he's easily outmatched. Barry and Kara save him and they retrieve the regulator. Rory figures out that the Dominator's language is based off of Latin, which helps Felicity decipher the coordinates. Oliver and the rest of the team look for a way to get off the ship when they are chased by the Dominators. They hijack one of the ships and make their escape. They are attacked by a platoon of other ships when the time ship saves them. After regrouping with Nate on a Wave Rider, Ray tells them that the reason they were taken was because they weren't metahumans and can't fight back. They learn from Gideon that the Dominators are approaching Earth with their ultimate weapon. All aboard the hype train of Day 3 of the DC TV crossover between The Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, and Legends? Will their combined efforts be enough to take down the Dominators in tomorrow's finale? Why did the President of the United States say that they needed to turn Barry Allen over to the Dominators? What is the aberration that Stein created? Who else shed a tear when we saw Mama and Papa Queen, Laurel, Tommy, and Roy? Will we ever find out where Prometheus is? Why wasn't Artemis there? Find out on the next episode of Arrow. Artemis meets with Prometheus and he tells her that he does not want to kill Oliver, but he wants to make him suffer instead. At the Star City Hall, Oliver and Thea talk about the events of the invasion while trying to celebrate the holidays at a party she is throwing. Curtis and his husband Paul talk to Felicity and her boyfriend Billy. Oliver gives a speech to the people at the event and talks about keeping the city safe. While Curtis and Paul argue outside the hall, they are attacked by Prometheus. Curtis fights back but is ultimately defeated by a knife to the shoulder. Paul rushes to his side and calls out for help. Diggle, his son, Renee, Rory, and Evelyn spend time together at the Arrow Cave. Curtis wakes up at the Star City Hospital and his husband asks him how he's able to defend himself against Prometheus. Felicity and Oliver arrive and Curtis confirms that Prometheus knows all of Team Arrow's identities. They then find out that Curtis has a drug called dicloserol in his system, which reminds Oliver of a person he had taken down some time ago. In a flashback, Oliver and Diggle move to stop a man named Justin Claiborne. He attacks his corporation and threatens to kill Claiborne if he does not stop the creation of dicloserol. Oliver finds out that Claiborne is releasing airborne tuberculosis so that he can sell the drug to patients. Diggle tries to stop him from killing Claiborne, but Oliver does anyways. Back in the present, the team go to see if Justin Claiborne is back trying to get his revenge. They head to the location where Diggle and Ragman are on the lookout. Oliver then finds himself locked in a room with Prometheus. They fight and are evenly matched. Renee helps Oliver, but Evelyn reveals her alliance with Prometheus. They manage to get away and the revelation leaves the team shocked. They all take the appropriate measures to protect their loved ones. Felicity talks to Billy, who wants to stop Prometheus himself. She begs him to stop before he is a target for the villain. Paul gives Curtis an ultimatum after learning that he is working with the Green Arrow. He tells him to give up being a vigilante or the marriage is over. Back at the Arrow Cave, Felicity, Thea, Rory, and Renee lay low until Oliver comes back. They realize that Prometheus isn't Claiborne and try to figure out who he could be. At the Claiborne manufacturing plant, Billy is conducting his own investigation on Prometheus. While he is gathering evidence, he is attacked by the villain. Before he's taken, he sends Felicity a picture of a baby. Oliver then talks to Adrian, who tells him that there's a shoot-to-kill order on Prometheus since he had abducted Billy. He returns to the Arrow Cave where Felicity and Diggle tell him that the baby was Claiborne's son. They think that he may be Prometheus, so they head out to stop him. While Thea and Oliver are talking, he remembers an address Felicity had given him for the AK Desmond group a long time ago. He tells Thea to stay put while he heads to confront Prometheus. He finds Prometheus had recreated the attack on the AK Desmond group Oliver had made 4 years prior. He finds Prometheus and tells him that he can try to get his revenge. After they struggle on the rooftop, they play a cat and mouse game. He shoots a barrage of bullets at who he thinks Prometheus is, but it turns out to be Billy dressed up as him. He goes back to the Arrow Cave and he tells the team what happened. He tells them to leave because he does not want any of them to get hurt, but they all decide to stay. When Curtis arrives home, Paul tells him that he is leaving. Oliver visits Susan and he tells her that everyone he cares about eventually ends up being hurt because of him. Diggle gets a call from Lila, but it turns out to be a trap as agents are waiting for him at the safe house. Oliver then goes back to the Arrow Cave and finds Laurel alive and well. Could Prometheus beat Tommy? Are we ever going to see Evelyn again? How did Laurel come back from the dead? Will she rejoin the team and become the Black Canary? What will happen to Diggle? Will Team Arrow be able to save him? Will Curtis continue his vigilantism with the team? Will we see Rory and Renee fight over Thea more? Will Thea keep fighting with the team? Will Felicity stay with the team? Find out on the next episode of Arrow.